Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can all hear me. There's quite a few people signing in and still coming in. So can you use the raise hand option to show that we've got some recipients and you can all hear me and see me okay? Super duper, thank you. If you just bear with me a couple of minutes while I allow other people to join, and then we'll start the meeting and the webinar for PIPS. Excellent. So yeah, welcome. Today is simply an introduction to an update to PIPS and what changes you can expect to see when we switch it over. PIPS version 3 will be launched this coming April, and the whole emphasis today is about what is new and what you'll see when you first change over. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Stuart Ogden. I'm the Technical Business Manager here at Data Direct. With me today is my colleague Nick Lloyd and our software partner Mark Byrne from Business IT Systems, who are the developers of PIPS. I'll shortly be handing over to Mark, who will do an overview of PIPS, and he'll explain some of what will change when we do go live. Nick and I will be on hand to keep an eye on the chat. So if you do have any questions, please use the chat feature, and any unanswered questions will be replied to after this webinar. Obviously today, one of the key features for us is the introduction to some and the reintroduction to others of the PIPS dashboard. We know that it's used heavily for notifications, emails, etc. But after speaking with quite a few dealers recently, we are aware that some of you don't actively use the live dashboard and dashboard features. And over the coming months, this will be part of our campaign to reintroduce this to some and to do training, and also to do some short training videos for you. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Mark, and he will share his screen and give you the first introduction to PIPS version 3. Over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Stu. Right, I'm just going to share my screen. So hopefully you can all see PIPS version 3. If that's working okay, you could just some people to raise their hand just to show that it's working. You can see that. Brilliant. Oh, thank you. Okay, right. So this is PIPS version 3. What we're doing is we're going to be doing a slow rollout of version 3 and new features to come starting April. So in April, this is what you will see. And when I say slow, when I refer to slow, we're still going to keep some of the old screens so that you're familiar, and then we'll slowly merge those over into the newer displays that we're going to offer within the solution. So what you're seeing right here is the dashboard, and this is the dashboard view that you're all sort of pretty comfortable with your status filters and so on here. You can see the number of devices that you're monitoring, and you've got the little red flags here, which are kind of like notifications. We took inspiration from sort of Facebook and so on. So when you get a new notification on there, same thing here, you get the little red box up in the top corner, just to show you that something new has occurred. So the idea is that you kind of won't really see those like errors here. You haven't got a new notification, one because there's no errors there, but when one comes in, you'll get a red box there with a number 1 in there. And the idea is that you use this dashboard to then click into that red one and then mark it so that anyone else viewing the dashboard as well as yourself can tell that that action or that alert has been actioned. And the idea is that it saves you doing duplicate calls or assigning a call over to an engineer twice and things like that. So that's one of the sort of benefits of actually using the dashboard and using the interface here, in that you can sort of identify if anyone else has actioned something that's been raised on here. So this is the traditional dashboard that you're used to. We will be merging it over to a slightly tweaked version of it, which you'll see now. We are going to be implementing more features here, more analytical data, so you can see sort of costs, which customers of yours are costing the most, and who do you need to go in and see because they're causing too many errors on devices and so on. So there's a lot more to come here, which you'll see in April. So this The sort of main thing you're looking at now and the difference from what you're used to is a bit of a refreshed user interface. So the first thing is that the menus are no longer at the top. Currently, all of your menus are at the top in little drop-down filters. Now, we've moved over to a left-sided menu system. So all of the menus that you're used to, they're all there, they're all still the same. They're just moved over to the left now. So for example, you've got your reporting, and your group settings, they're all over here on the left down here. And if I go and select a lower down group, let me click the group filter up here, which has remained at the top. Let's pick this as a customer. We can now open service provider settings and so on, and you'll see your consumable thresholds, scheduled tasks for any notifications and reporting that you want to be sent to you at scheduled times, your notifications if you want to add users and so on. Everything is now on the left. That's probably one of the most major changes, in that we've just simply moved the menu system down there. I'm just going to pick a lower down customer and we'll expand group settings, and you'll see here you've got your general settings, which is where you create a child group, scan settings, which is where you set up the agent, in where you enter IP information and what time you want the scans to run. So they're all down here now. Going on from that, the change to the user interface, and there are other themes actually, by the way. So this is the light theme. There's also a dark theme for those of you that like that. That seems to be quite a popular option. In addition to the change to how it looks, we've got some extras in here in a way of that. We've got some extra features which are optional extras to the system. The first one being service calls. So this is where you can basically create job tickets and you can assign those to engineers. So the simple story behind it is that if a customer calls up, for example, and says, "Hey, I've got black lines on my output pages. Can you send an engineer down?" You can simply come and create a new ticket, assign that to an engineer. That'll be under the customer, Bill's Burgers in this example. And you can then assign it to the engineer, and the engineer who will be user registered on PIPS will then get a notification to say, "Hey, you've had a job ticket assigned to you." So you can create new tickets, you can see existing ones, closed ones. You can also schedule jobs. So if you've got a list of engineers here in this column here, you've got some job tickets that we've already got on the system. You can simply drag and drop when they need to go out and action that job ticket. So that's now part of the PIPS system. Now, moving on from that, we've also got the billing system. This is a new feature, which with this, you will no longer need to manually calculate billing or potentially use other systems to do, the calculation of device usage. Within PIPS, you can set up and create and configure contracts, and they can be individual and specific to your customer. So it's not a case of just having one contract that applies to all. You can have bespoke contracts made for your customer, so they can be set for monthly or quarterly or annual billing. You can have fixed rental costs on there, generic fixed costs. You can have evergreen contracts. Everything you can do on other systems, you can now do within here. And with the data that we're collecting from devices, so that will be your device usage, using a start reading and an end reading, you will then be able to create a monetary value, which can then go off to your finance package, so your Sage Online and Xeros and Zoho and so on. Everything can now be done within PIPS. So if I just close out of here, we'll take a look at that screen. If we go to billing, and we'll go to preview billing. So this is just an example of, it's giving me a list of devices. It's showing me the start reading, the end reading, the usage, and the amount that we're going to be billing that customer for. You can either manually send this off to your finance package. So that allows you to just come here, just check, yep, that looks okay. I'm okay with sending that off to the next process. And then you can do that, or you can automate it. So at the end of every month or the start of every month, whatever date you pick, you can have that automatically just calculate and fire off to your finance package where an invoice is created, and then that will go out at a scheduled time. Within here, you can also see the history. So you can go back and just see what you have billed, see that it was exported. So in this case, we've exported it to QuickBooks. They've all got 0 billing amounts because no usage was done, but it's just our demo data. Okay, so the next one that we'll take a look at is the stock system. So this is a pretty hefty update to the system. This allows you to basically have all your stock within the system here. So when you're when you're taking orders, you can just simply pick from here, and this will deduct any stock that you have. If you need to order, you can you can order directly from Data Direct. So let's take you through an example of that. If we go to new, we can select our supplier as Data Direct, and we can then select consumable orders. And what that will do is any consumable orders that are queued up on the system already, so when they've already reached their threshold, which is typically 25%, that will automatically place that order with Data Direct, and they can either send out to you or directly to the customer. You can input all of that information here, and Data Direct will get that information through the integration that we have with them. As well as that, you can see a full live list of their stock. So you can see that they've got like 2 black toners for a Kyocera, whatever it may be, and you can pick the stock item, you can get the live pricing information, and you can order that. And again, you could have that sent directly to the customer or yourselves just through the options that you've got enabled on this window now. Within the stock system, you're able to set up stock locations. So within stock locations, that could be simply, stock within your office or engineers' cars. And within those locations, you can have sub-locations. So if you have your stock location as the office, within the office, you could have shelf 1, shelf 2, shelf 3, and just so you know where you're picking stock from. And against each stock item, you can store location information. So the next option we've got that's coming to the B3 is environmental. So if you already use environmental sensors, we can integrate with them, and that can allow you to see the environmental sensor information on this window here. Now, that depends on what technology they're using, but we work with a company called Lightfi as an example. That's one sort of company where we integrate with their sensors. As long as APIs are supported, that sensor information can be pulled and shown within one PIPS here. Power management is another feature which allows you to control power of devices. So not just printers, but any electrical device by the means of a smart plug. That just fits in line with the power socket and the wall socket, and you will be able to monitor power usage as well as costs. Once you've input their tariff information, you're able to then schedule when devices come online and offline. So the example is that you could shut off an electrical appliance at 6 p.m. and then have that turn on again at 6 a.m. the next morning, saving a number of hours energy usage. Other features include, where are we? So we've got the equipment register. This is one of the last additions to the version 3 system, where essentially it's an asset register. This allows you to just register all of your equipment, and on top of that, you can add purchase and lease information. So if I just add let's find a device here, say a fax machine, and we'll select a manufacturer or Polo. You can select a model type. There isn't one, so you can just free type anything in there. And then you can add your information such as the serial number and the asset number you're applying to that device. You can then input when the purchase date was and the period that's the replacement period. So at the end of 8 months, you get a notification to say, hey, this has reached 8 months. You might want to go back into that customer to sell another device. And same goes for lease information. you can just put when the lease expires, so you know, and you're reminded that the lease is about to expire, so you might need to send someone in to go and talk about an upgrade. So they're kind of the main features that are coming to PIPS version 3. Now, just to sort of go back quickly, I know a number of you are not sort of logging in and using the dashboard, but by doing so, you do get to see a lot more information than you're seeing just in typical email notifications. And perhaps this will lead on to sort of further sort of videos that we could do and webinars where, you know, we could target specific topics. But, you know, just by logging in, you're able to see your list of devices that you're monitoring and live information for each and every one of those devices that you're looking after. So you can just come here, you'll see your list of devices, you can see total information. If you keep going over, you can see the drum levels, you can see the date it was added to the system and the last time you communicated with that device. And based on that, you can then dive into the tabs here to work out why you may not be receiving up-to-date information for a particular device, the last time you received a device reading for a device, and sometimes in this example here where they're marked in red, why are they invalid? So a red sort of highlight on the text there means that there's an invalid reading that's come in there. On all of this, you can set up email notifications as well. So there might be another aspect there where, you know, you may only be receiving sort of email notifications for just your meter readings and sort of consumable orders, but there's a bit more there where it will help you sort of be a bit more proactive in terms of, you know, troubleshooting any issues with devices dropping offline or incorrect meter readings and so on. So just to sort of highlight some of the extra features that are available within the PIPS system. But yeah, as for version 3, they're the main features now. So you've got the sort of the refreshed look. You've now got the stock system, the billing system, environmental options there, and the equipment register. So the billing system is certainly one of the most popular ones at the moment, from what we've gauged in terms of that. It's a real sort of time saver there in terms of it can do all of the calculations straight away for you and integrate with the majority of finance packages. As long as the finance package supports API integration, which I think 99.9% of them do, we'll integrate with them. And as I say, we work with most of the big ones already, so Xero, Sage, QuickBooks, and so on. So if there are any sort of systems out there, perhaps you're using a bespoke system, which I know a number of people are, we'll be happy to sort of take a look and work with you on that. But as for a sort of a quick introduction to version 3, that's it. So what I'll do now is I'll pass back over to Stu, who will take you through the next step.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark. That's brilliant. Now we've got some really good questions here from quite a few familiar faces. For myself, Mark Ross has asked, will there be a mobile-friendly version on the service call section?
Yes, sorry, and I've totally forgot to cover that. In the service call system, yes, we do have an app that works on Apple and Android devices, and the key behind that is that it's targeted at engineers. So while an engineer's on site, they get a simplified view of the PIPS system, because at the moment trying to use the sort of use PIPS on the phone, you know, there's a lot of information there and to fit on a small screen. So we've got a simplified version that allows them to pick their customers, see devices within that customer, get the basic information, and create and edit job tickets that are assigned to that engineer as well at the same time. So while they're on site, they can just say, "Yep, this has been fixed," or they can pick a part that they need from stock, or if they need a toner while they're on site, they can sort of request a toner order. That can all be done from the mobile device.
Super. Lee Hammond, where customers have been permitted access, are they able to raise a service call themselves, basically?
Yes, they can. Yeah. So provided they've got access to the system, they can certainly do that. There is a window for them to do that, and that comes as part of the system that will be offered.
Would there be a dealer option to turn that feature off, because some dealers might not want their customers to? Yeah, okay, that's fine, that's good. Joanne, can invoices be generated from within PIPS? Are they generated within PIPS and distributed from PIPS, or do they go to the accounting software and then it goes out from Sage or
Yes.
QuickBooks?
So we integrate with the accounting software, and all the invoices still go out from there, because that will add on things like tax or any other sort of different additions you've got to your templates there. So everything will still go out from the finance package. We're just simply feeding it the information.
Super. Lee's back again with, can billing determine excess toner usage? So if they've got an extra charge, I'm assuming that's what you mean, Lee, for overuse, can you add on excess usage charges?
Yes, you can. Yeah. So we as part of the contract setup, there are a number of different contract types that you can choose from. So you've got inclusive, prints, and exclusive, and then obviously if they go over that, you can add on your click charge, whatever that would be. So there are a number of different contracts to choose from.
Excellent, that's good. Callum, down at the Cheddar Gorge, PIPS has always been based on what it can see online. What happens if the PIPS can't be loaded? Can we manually add users, models, etc.? We've shown that in the asset register, and that's sparked a question in my head. Can you add devices to log service calls against manually? I think that's what Callum's asking. And B,
Yep.
can you take the devices that PIPS picks up, and can they be exported into the asset register?
Good question. So the first one, yes. So what you do, you can add manual device. So you've actually already got this within PIPS. You can simply add a manual device. So this might be a device that you can't pick up with the agent because they're not, your customer's not allowing you to install the agent or whatever it may be. You can manually add a device. So for example, you could just say it's a Fuji Xerox, and then you add your information here. And then there's another window where you can you can add meter readings, and that actual window can be shared with your end user. So at the end of every month, you could email them that link just to remind them, and they can actually input the latest meter readings there. As for importing existing devices on PIPS to the asset system, there is an import method. So by default, there isn't sort of a button that you can click to say, hey, please import these, but there is a simple process where we could export and then re-import, and they would appear in the asset register. So it's not a difficult task.
Excellent. Mark Oscar has asked, can certain errors and warnings be switched off, like empty paper tray warnings?
Yes, they can. Yeah. So as part of version 3, we give you access to your full errors and warnings and sort of status alert table, and then within that you can reclassify each and every error and warning and so on. So if you've got something there that comes in as an error, such as sort of paper out or something like that, you could reassign that to a warning or ignore.
Okay, a really good one. I think, Mark, you've covered this before with myself, and this is a really good feature. Steph has asked whether, let's just say, for instance, the threshold is met for a black toner and generates an order, and then the following day, that the cyan or yellow toner then generates a notification of out. Can you batch them together? Is there a means of batching?
Yes, yeah. So within consumable thresholds, you could set up a secondary threshold. So when one toner registers that it's got 25% toner remaining, if you've got a secondary threshold of 30%, it can then look for that, and any that that have 30%, it would then also order for those. But also you could use a days before empty. So you could have a days before empty threshold of, say, 30 days. So when one toner reaches its threshold that you've set, it will then look for the secondary threshold of, this toner's got 30 days remaining until it's empty. It will also order for that, and then that allows you to send them out together and batch them.
Excellent. That's good. So again, if one's at 10% and one's at 12, you can get a single notification for both, so then you can ship both.
Yes.
Or if that's going to push through to a service call system, would it generate one call for the two or two separate calls?
You can consolidate them. So there's a tick box there to consolidate them together.
Excellent.
So yeah, it's up to you.
Okay. Is the service call function able to push the information via API to our back end system? I guess that I'm thinking is, will PIPS push something through to a service management program?
It can do, yes. So everything
excellent.
that you see within PIPS in terms of data can be extracted.
Super. And finally, Mark, again, will there be an integrated agent for devices which can be installed directly on the MFP?
Yes, we actually do support that already. So we do that actually for Lexmark already. We're currently in talks with Sharp, although with Sharp devices, we're actually using their emails at the moment. So they're not sure if they want to continue that, and they just want to stick to using emails. So you can actually have the email Rick emails go straight to an inbox which we monitor and pull the information down from. And we work with Brother, Canon, Ricoh, and Oki for supporting device emails. But so far, Lexmark is the only one where we have an embedded app, but there is more to come.
Okay, there are a couple more. I'll just scroll down and I'll go through them just because there are a couple, and I think it'll be of interest to other people as well. Mark again's asked also, will there be an agent to allow access to the UI of the machine?
Yes, you can do that. So if you use the version 3 agent, so this is actually something that you can do within PIPS already, provided you use the version 3 agent, which is different to what you're seeing here. This is the version 3 site. But with the version 3 agent, you can actually use the remote UI, and that allows you to get straight into the device UI.
Wow, that's fantastic. Again, these are features and functionalities that I think a lot of people don't even know exist within their current usage of PIPS, because predominantly people are using it as a email notification tool when there's actually so much more that they can do with it. Mark again, can the secondary threshold just be used for toners and not for drums, etc.? So can you stipulate what the secondary threshold looks at? So,
yes, you can.
Excellent. That's brilliant. There was a couple of other questions there, I think, from Lee, which I'll come back to Lee on if that's okay, because they look a bit more in depth, etc. What we will do is make this video available to download. Hopefully, I'll cut out the interjection I had and any bad language that I picked up. I'm sure there'll be further questions. We do intend to do another one of these webinars prior to the launch, which we're anticipating will be the 4th of April. And then what we're also looking to do is to do some more advanced viewing of these specific areas. Things like the service call feature, etc. That's all in the new version. The billing, the environmental and the stock are all add-ons. So obviously, like a lot of software these days, extra modules and extra capabilities often means extra cost. We'll do some tutorial videos, etc. On those items. And if there is an interest, we'll do some in-depth videos. Also, if you speak to your account managers, we can do one-to-one tutorials and training with Mark and the guys from PIPS. So please use us. Let's try and get people using the dashboard more. And the final thing is that what we have found is with our partnership with the guys from PIPS is that a lot of the features and functions that are now being made and created are fed by you guys and what you want to see and what you want to use. Hence, Mark's great input and questions is probably something you wouldn't have thought of asking about, but there were really good questions that might lead you guys to think about using PIPS a bit more yourselves. So I'm going to conclude now. I'd like to thank you all for your attendance and Mark for his guidance on PIPS version 3. You'll be hearing more from us, and if you've got any queries or questions, speak to your Data Direct account manager, or you can email me at stuart.ogden@data-direct.co.uk. Thank you all for your time, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thank you.